Hey, hello. Hey, today we're going to start taking a little look at how we're going to prep up for midnight. So I've had a chance to take a look at some of the things I've been doing in the alpha and then the beta. And I was going to talk a little bit about how I set up my stuff and what I'm thinking going forward. So one thing, of course, that's changing is taking away weak auras, which I use quite a bit of. And I'm already using... this is all my action bars are set up through Blizzard's action bars, which is fine. And then we're leaving the target and player frames pretty much like they are in their newer setup. And to be completely honest, I don't use these much at all because they're not useful. They're too large. They take up too much real estate. And if you're sitting here playing with your character, especially on a melee tune or any of our tunes, a lot of times we have to watch around our feet, right? And make sure we're not standing in something. So that's where most of the time your eyes are. That's why I dump stuff like quest logs off to the side and details. You know, it's okay to have details up, but put it off to the side so it's not interfering with what you're looking at. But you do want to have your action bars. So that's why these action bars are a little bit higher so you can see these abilities. And then we also have weak auras we can use to show when things are off cooldown if we want the information a little more front and center and closer to the center of the screen where you're looking. So I said these player and target frames, the Blizzard ones, are not really useful. I mean, if you wanted to put them up here, I guess you could, but it takes up space. You know, you put them up here, you're not going to be able to see nameplates. You put them down below your feet. That's a lot of visual clutter right there. And all you really need to know off of these frames is, hey, where's my health at? And then what target am I looking at? So I do use weak auras to do that. And you can kind of see already some of it. So when I target something, just a plain old name appears above my head, so I know what I have targeted. And I can see the health of the target right there. And that's all you really need off of this entire frame, right? The other thing you'd want to see is the cast bar, which I use an add-on to move that cast bar up there. So like I said, you replace that entire target frame with the name of the target, their health, and whether they're casting something. And to me, that's perfect, right? You get everything you need. I'll take a look at weak auras real quick and see what I got set up for the DK. So we're looking at... I guess it's not showing everything, but also up here under where that cast bar is, I like to show where what the cooldown is on my interrupt there, right? So that way, if I see something's casting, I go, oh, well, I can interrupt. That's great. And if I don't have an interrupt ready, I can look at blinding sleet, see what the cooldown is on that. But I don't keep that up here. I can look down at my action bars. It's a little less handy. And same with the DK here. I can watch my death grip too. Maybe that's an interrupt. Now over on this side, we'll show my own health. And some of this is only shown by default in combat, which is good. And if we look here, over on this side, I've split up some of the abilities that come up that I can use, like if Deathbringer or Reaper's Mark is ready to use, then I can put that up there. Same with Bone Storm, when that's ready to use and it's got the Bone Shield. I got the Bone Shield charges, it'll appear. So pretty useful things that weak auras can do for me. I don't think it's really cheating, right? You're just being able to see what your capabilities are at any time. Well, a lot of the information you get from the action bars, and once again, just like the player and target frames, you can't put all your action bars up here, right? But you can take those select abilities and position them there. What I actually like to do, which I don't think I'm going to be able to do in Midnight, is I like to kind of go around, make a HUD in the center, because Blizzard's already by default has those graphics that appear, you know, on the left and right of your tune and above your tune. So all my weak auras are kind of built to fit within that. And then you got your own health and your target health right there. And then here on this side is usually utility or defensive cooldowns. And then I do show what my trinkets are up to right here. So if I got a trinket and it's ready to use, it'll appear up here. Or in this case, I've got Brand of Ceaseless Ire, so I can track my stacks right here. Pretty useful information, right? And then I do have if I pop Anti-Magic Shell, there's a bar down here that'll show, hey, Anti-Magic Shell is up. It's going to last for this much longer. And same with some of my other stuff. I use bars to track my Vampiric Blood and Dancing Rune Weapon, right? So that's right there too. Then I also have a nice little tracker right here with debuffs. Now, so that's what I have set up for weak auras, basically. That's almost all of it. I don't really use too much of the, tell me what to do or when to do it stuff. I just like to have the information so I know what I can do at any given time, and then I make my decisions from there, right? So if we look at what Blizzard has done, so let's go into edit mode here. So this is my basic setup. Cooldown Manager I'm not showing in this this layout. I have used the Blizzard edit mode for this entire expansion, right, to do my action bars and stuff and take care of my raid frames. I'm finding they're okay, even for healing too. I do okay with all that. So, and then of course you got your extra action bars for ancillary stuff, which do get hidden in combat usually. But let's take a look at what I'm looking at for midnight. So we got a little shift to things here, realizing that we're not going to have a lot of those weak aura capabilities anymore, or any of those. We do want to still watch some of the stuff that we're doing. So looking at their cooldown manager, you can track some things. I want to say another thing that I track on my tank up above my head next to the interrupt is, and we can see it here. Let's go take a look at that center. So once again, information that's essential to help you make the right decisions and use your abilities, that should all be up around this area or somewhere higher than your action bar. And one thing you can see in the edit mode is I've lowered the action bars a little bit to make more room for all the cooldown manager stuff, but I went back up to 100%. I think it was only at 90% before, because you can look down here for other abilities like Soul Reaper. It's an easy glance to see, hey, is that up? I'm going to hit that, and maybe that's going to end up here, but we'll see. Several of these abilities you can just look down here. You don't need to have them all up top. Like I said, I don't think you want to take your entire action bar set and go shove it here in these cooldown managers or essential cooldowns or whatever they call it. But when I was looking at the center, so on the either side of my interrupts, I'll always have my two. These are the focus things that I'm watching. So on the DK, I want to make sure that my bone shield is up and that my blood shield, see if that's up too, right? Those are important things. Okay. Once again, we're losing a lot of this weak aura functionality. I don't see it all replaced so far, even on the beta, what I'm watching, but that's okay. I've tinkered a little bit with the cooldown manager. So of course here we got the track buffs. So I can track bone shield here. I can track how much I'm getting. I think we'll see how that works on my next Death Strike. That's not something I usually track. I just hit Death Strike when it's time to Death Strike, which is all the time. And you can see when Icebound Fortitude is up. See when Death's Advance, when you've triggered it, how much longer you got on it. And you can see if you popped off Purgatory. Note, I haven't actually tried. See what Blizzard stuff is going to do. And then here we've got showing our spells here. So our essential cooldowns, which is Vampiric Blood, Dancing Rune Weapon. I like to see when Death and Decay is ready to drop, because we're going to drop that on cooldown pretty much. Same with Blood Boil. We're going to use that. Reaper's Mark, we're going to be popping that off all the time, right? Then as we get those Bone Shield charges, then we're going to use Bone Storm and then Tombstone, right? That's what we're kind of looking at here. Utility cooldowns, I'm not sure that I like what I'm seeing here. It'd be nice if utility cooldowns were you could split into two groups, because once again I would actually like to have my my interrupt abilities higher up here, preferably above my head. And then we got, let's see, I guess taunt. I don't have to use taunt that much anymore. But anti-magic zone is good to see, and anti-magic shell. In fact, I'd rather see shell before that. And then if we raise ally, make sure we got runic power and it's available so we can res people. Now that kind of information, we don't use these all the time, so I'm thinking that I may pull these back off of this bar, because we can look right down here. Like I said, I made this just this is the default 100%, so I can see pretty clearly if I want to glance down and see, hey, can I res somebody? But there may be occasions where you don't want to take your eyes too far away from the screen because there's a lot of stuff going on. You don't want to stay in something. Now here we got some bars showing for when I got Rune Weapon and Vampiric Blood up, but I'm not too sure gonna like that. That's okay. Alright, so let's take a little look at... I did turn on the cooldown manager, at least I think I did. Let me see. Yeah, cooldown manager is on. The other thing that I think we're going to be playing with here is the personal resource display. And I'll turn this stuff off here. This wasn't very helpful. I don't use the personal resource display because currently it's kind of cruddy. You know, I don't really need all those bars under my tune. Health is important, and I guess our power, but even their implementation of that is a little too basic, so we'll turn it on for now, just kind of see. I did see that they are working on making that into more of a HUD for in the midnight, in the beta, so hopefully they'll get some more customization. Now I'm not quite sure. Like I said, I use the add-on Move Any to move the target cast bar up here. So we'll see what they're gonna allow us to do with add-ons, because not all add-ons are gone, right? You're supposed to be able to still customize. If something is available, you should be able to customize what you see. So hopefully we can still do things like this text HUD I use. I actually wrote that weak aura myself. Well, it wasn't that hard to do, but hopefully there'll be something that can kind of replace that functionality, or their personal resource display will be a little better. But so let's just play around a little bit here. I'm not going to turn off my weak auras because I tried that on the monk, play around a little bit, but some of my weak auras are, if you go and toggle them all to never, it actually changed some of them when I turned it back on to active, and I didn't want them active. So I'm not going to mess with that, because we still have several months to play here in retail. But let's go do a little delve. We can kind of take a look. So we're still going to have weak auras popping up, but we're going to take a look at how those cooldown managers working. Let's take a look what this looks like. Yeah, so these are a little bigger, but I got real estate down here, so that's fine. And then it makes it a little easier just to glance down and pick up cooldowns and your abilities real quick. Let's see what we need to do in this one. Gather materials and rebuild waygates. Oh, okay. Oh, I don't like where that is. I guess I'll fix that later. Alright, so I drop it. Death and decay. Okay, I can see my bone shield stacks down here. Oh, I point out something there. So one thing I also use a weak, or I think it might be an add-on for, is to bring my runes up here. So I, of course, can see what I'm doing. So personal resource display does actually show that, and that's good, because that's something we're going to need to have for several classes. The monk too, the chi orbs. Definitely want to see that. Sorry about the overlap. We're going to see a lot of overlaps of stuff right now, but that's a good thing. It is showing my health and my... So I don't really need bars there. I would be happy with numbers, but we'll see what they do. Alright, well, let's go pick up a bunch of mobs here. So I also went and bought the Curstone Idol today, so I want to see if my macro works. Get the macro and the idol goes, get the macro again, and I get Dancing Rune weapon. Oh, it looked like it all worked. So let's see what that cooldown manager is telling me. Here, you know what? Hold on. I think I set those to combat. I want all is visible on these for right now so I can see what's going on. So I did see a couple things going on there, actually. So one thing, when exterminate procs, and you can hit a you want to be hitting marrow rend, or get your exterminates off. I have a weak aura that shows when that's available, but I didn't actually see. None of these are tracking that. So unfortunately, I think we're gonna need to stick that up there. Not sure that I need see blood boil up here. Like I said, the less that you're cramming up here, so you can keep it essential. Things that you're doing all the time, right? And maybe blood boil don't need to be up there. It's got such a quick recharge. We can glance down here and pop it when it's up again. Let me see. Let me try this group and see what I think of that. Oh, because everything died. I'm looking forward to giving we do our Mythic Plus oh, his bird got excited there. We do every Saturday night. Today's Saturday. We do some Mythic Plus runs in the guild. I usually end up tanking or healing, but I'm looking forward to seeing what that Curstone Idol does in dungeons. Supposed to do a lot of damage. And I've already been running the brand, so let me take a look here at... See, right now you can see I've got Exterminate showing, and then I guess I am showing cooldowns for Blood Boil and stuff up there, so I guess that stuff can stay up. But what I want to check here and see is, can we actually add, let's see, track buffs. That's what we want. Let's see if Exterminate is actually available in there, which I don't think it is. Because that's something that procs. Well, you know what? Let's drop marrow end up there and see if that's what it means. So, of course, one of the greatest things about weak auras is you can go get the spell ID off of your spells. And I got a little add-on that'll show me spell IDs if I hover over stuff. But you can take that spell ID, plug it into weak auras, and then you can make display icons or bars or whatever you want. So you can see, hey, I've got debuffs up, for instance. I'm watching for debuffs, or I'm watching for buffs, or I'm watching if I have procs. One thing that I noticed on the Frost Mage is you want to see, I like to see how many icicles I have up, so I know as I'm casting something, okay, I'm going to finish this cast and I'll have my full 5 icicles, I want to do glacial spike. And I realize that they're changing a little bit how frost mages are working, but still, those are pretty important things that we can do with weak auras right now. Is be able to track whatever we want. And I can't really see any reason why you shouldn't be able to track different things going on. Because if you go look in your buffs up here, you'll see those things. So we should be able to then display them somewhere a lot more useful than up here and there. You know, if there's something I find a little more useless than these player and target frames, I mean, it doesn't really matter where these things are. I don't look at that much, right? But you can stick them back up here where they used to be in the top left. That's fine. And then you got all your buffs and stuff, but they're way up here, you know. And how are you going to parse through your buffs when you're going to have 20 buffs up at any given raid fight, and go figure out if you have enough icicles out of that stack, right? Or if it's time to do exterminate. Now, Blizzard may figure that out, right? We've already got an interface here that can show a few different things. I don't think there's enough categories here, but let's say in this cooldown monitor, they said, hey, you know, monitor, what do they got here? Tracked buffs. So technically, if you wanted to see icicles or whatever, maybe that's where you want it. But I think we actually want a couple different bars for buffs. So you can put them in different places. We don't really just need to have an ever-expanding bar here. Even the same with abilities, right? There's some abilities that are pretty important, like for the DK, we're going to be hitting Dancing Ruin or cooldowns, right, all the time. And it's good to see them up here, so we see when they're off cooldown. But they're not quite the same priority as these other things, right? You know what I mean? So that's okay. Let's go kill some more stuff. I did want to see, once I throw Reaper's Mark out, if... Okay, so we are getting a... The Marrow frame is lighting up to let us know Exterminate's up. I kind of like my own weak aura better because it actually shows the Exterminate icon, so I know exactly what I'm looking at. And do we have a timer? I think Exterminate's on a timer, is it not? Yes. So there's no timer showing here and no timer showing here. So that's a problem, right? We have an Exterminate buff. And yeah, this is lit up to show you if you hit it, you're going to get Exterminate, but it's not showing you your expiration or anything like that. And that's actually important information. And Exterminate is not available to show up here, pretty sure. Let me double check, though. That's a perfect example then of they've kind of chosen what can be shown in here. I mean, we can't add or subtract stuff to here like weak auras. So being able to add that buff in or make sure that it's available at least, I don't know. And they make the game, they know what the classes can do, so that should be in here so you can track it. We make sure it's not down here. Nope. And that wouldn't be a utility cooldown. Yeah, so that's actually pretty weak. And that's yeah, you could drop your Marrow Rend up here in essential cooldowns, but if it's not telling you how long you have on Exterminate, then it's useless. Okay. I have been using the Blizzard frames for raid and party, and I use these frames, not the little party frames, and they've given me enough information to decurse and heal people and all that stuff, so I'm okay with that part. So it is showing me my bone storm's up and how long it's running for, so that's pretty slick. That's pretty good. Then you'd have to track that up with your buffs. And it's showing me my bone shield okay. That's alright. That's alright. Oops. Stupid Bran stands in the way. Alright, let's get a blood shield up, see if it... Okay, showing my blood shields up, and then showing how much damage I've taken, so I want to hit another strike. How much it's going to give me? No, that's good. Okay. Kill some more guys because I have cooldown still. Well, it shows me how long Tombstone is up. That's good. Okay, so some of those things are just fine. Oh, hold on. I think I was supposed to be doing stuff up here. Collecting parts and energy. Kind of curious. So tracked buffs. Oh, they do have an icon direction. But they didn't seem to shift places. Let me go put a bunch of those up and then see if they're actually shifting places. That's the way weak auras works. Is goes like you can add a bunch of buffs you want to display, but they'll start at the left or start at the right or wherever you want, and they'll expand from there as you get more buffs. But I think the Blizzard ones just kind of stay wherever they are in there. Let's see. Oh yeah, see, so Bone Shield went away and I left an empty space there. Which in theory is not too bad. I probably want to rearrange some of those. I like to see Bone Shield something you want to. I like to be able to look and see the same thing in the same expected place, right? This little tricky thing with the Cursed Stone Idol is it has a cast time, so usually we macro and trinket with our. Well, you can macro it into whatever you want, but I like to macro mine in with a Dancing Rune weapon. But since it's got a cast time, actually I use a cast sequence macro, so tap it the first time and you get the trinket does its channel, but then you got to tap it again to get the next ability. I guess I don't mind having the runes there. That helps. Hopefully, and I think I saw that they were working on it. There'll be some more customizability about what we're seeing in that personal resource display. Like, yeah, show that stuff, but make it smaller. Show some of that in text values would be nice. If they could show my target name somewhere too, that would be handy. And target cast bar would be awesome. Definitely a slight pause in there. Putting up that Curstone idol is actually doing damage too. Oh, it's doing damage too after that channel. Just thinking about if I got to pull a group, I'm going to have to watch aggro or something. Alright. Pretty nice how these delves are. Well, it should be. It's the end of the expansion, but it's all autopilot now. Alright, this one I'm supposed to break these thingies, I think, and then go fix waygates. I think I don't get anything for killing mobs here, so I think we just want to keep killing things. I guess another thing I'd kind of like to see is when you run your trinkets, how long their duration they got up. Pretty sure it's in my week or about oh man, I forgot to get that thing over there. I don't really like fighting these guys here. Take long. Take long. Not entirely sure I like my macro that is cast sequencing stuff. I don't usually use cast sequence macros. I may have to go. Let me go take a look. I think I need to get in combat here. Pretty sure my weak aura tells me when I got trinkets that are ready to use. Oh yeah, there's a trinket right there for Curstone idol, so I know it's up, and then I just hit that sucker when I want. Yeah, I think I'm going to switch it to that. While it's almost always ideal to hit those things mid cooldown, if you can't macro it directly in, maybe it's better you should use
treasure close by.
Use it manually. Especially when it's tied to something like a dancing rune weapon. Well, let's fix that real quick. I guess we could do that, but oh man. That just means I'm going to have to... Let's use this one. Guess we'll make a new macro here. Dancing rune plus raise death. Okay. And we'll just pull the macro usage out of there. There we go. Alright, that does mean I gotta fire off my stone idol manually, but I'm okay with that. I think I would rather make sure that when I press dancing rune weapon, it's doing dancing rune weapon. And once I got that and vampiric up, then I'll go back and hit my trinket after that. Have a little better control. So, thinking about the cooldown manager here and what I'm seeing, it's got some stuff, you know, some of the elements are there. But yeah, essential things like having exterminate up with a cooldown running, that's pretty important actually. But if you can't see that, and I did not see that in the cooldown manager at all, that's a problem. I have not tinkered with, I don't have one of those orbs from Summon Kaiveza, so I can do the, whatchamacallit? Delver's Bounty Map. That's okay, I guess. Pretty sure I got a bazillion crests on this tune. Oh, 111. I guess that's not a bazillion, but I don't think there's anything left to craft now, anyway. And it may be habit, but, oh, and this week I think we had to do the delves for our spark, but at least doing the delve for the Delver's Bounty and the free 20 crests or 27 crests, this system's working. So the information I'm getting off of what it is tracking is very similar to what I use in weak auras, and it's not too bad actually. I mean, my weak auras do some other things, like I got a death and decay. Well, you can position, right? You can position stuff in better places. And how you want. You can split up icons, but you can't at all with their bars. It's got to be a bar. Now, if they gave you some additional bars, that would be great. And I don't know if they'll do things like this. So up here, I got a weak aura that reminds me, hey, your augment rune needs to be re-clicked because the buff has fallen off. So it's kind of showing a missing buff there. Be nice if they are able to add stuff like that in. Well, we will see what Blizzard does. I got a couple months to pull stuff together. As far as I understand, the whole problem is... Oh, good, I got a Delver's Bounty for next time. Click that so I don't forget. But the big problem is Blizzard doesn't want to expose, I think, spell IDs and different things now.
Fantastic.
I did take a look at some gameplay on the beta, and you know, the new nameplates they're working on, they don't look horrible except for not stacking very well. But man, they don't really stack real well now. But all right. Yep. Thanks for coming along on a little run, some discussion. We'll be doing more of these, I think, in the upcoming weeks here. Take a look at some different classes too, and maybe they will release some more features. I know they released some more features on the beta, so get some more tinkering done. Well, thanks for coming along. Catch you on the next one.